Hey, MCARBO brother, I'm Chris Nelson, president of MCARBO. Really excited to introduce the new taller folding rear sights for your KEL TEC Sub 2000, available in both notch and peep style apertures, giving you a much more natural cheek to stock weld. Lever can be mounted on the left and right side of the Sub 2000. It works for both the Gen 1 and the Gen 2. Also won't affect the ability for the rifle to fold in half. Let's jump on over the tabletop and take a closer look. Parts and tools needed for this build: the KEL TEC Sub 2000 rear tactical sights, your choice of aperture, either pistol style notch sights or CQC close quarters combat wider peep sight, 2.5mm Allen key or T-handle, and blue 242 removable Loctite. Before we dive into this really quick installation, let's compare these rear sight uprights real fast. So you've got the plastic factory sight here, and the new MCARBO CNC-machined 6061 aircraft grade aluminum sight right here. First thing you notice right away, the MCARBO sights are taller. Finally, we've got something to pick our faces up off that steel bolt tube. A much more natural cheek to stock weld is what you're going to get. More comfortable shooting position when you're using your iron sights. Fantastic upgrade for that benefit alone. Not to mention the apertures are so much more improved from what we had from the factory. You can see this plastic factory aperture is just two holes. One halfway drilled, one all the way drilled. The really sharp edges doesn't really help your eye focus on that front sight. The MCARBO beveled edges on this rear sight aperture are really fantastic, really help you get that nice, clean, crisp sight picture. Not to mention it's much wider and more conducive for close quarters combat situations, which is more likely what we're going to experience with the Sub 2000. It's more of an urban conflict firearm. It's 9mm, it's 40 cal. Max effective range out to 125 yards. We're going to be using much wider apertures. We're not using small, tiny apertures trying to hit a 300-meter target. Just not happening. So we're using wider apertures, close quarters combat, moving targets, wider field of view, low light situation, much more conducive, better aperture, not to mention more natural cheek to stock weld with the higher sight. Now here is your other option as well. We've got pistol style notch sights, which are fantastic. I think these are going to be a real winner right here. Really looking forward to your feedback. Not to mention you see these notch sights, how they taper. Another fantastic benefit, helping you focus on that front sight. The taper, the beveled edges, some really fantastic machining went into this. It's much more conducive to what we're trying to do here with the Sub 2000. Let's go ahead and put these babies in. All right, so it's real fast and simple. We just got to remove this rear factory sight. So it's one of the two screws that we have to remove, and then we'll push through the actual grip pin. So just take your 2.5mm Allen key or T-handle wrench and just pop out one of those screws. Take the washer out as well. Now we'll go ahead and put our Allen key through the grip pin and just push it through. All right, remove that. Now we'll just go ahead and pull out the factory rear sight. Then it's a matter of installing either the Peep or the notch rear sight. Both processes are exactly the same, just a matter of shooter's choice, whether you prefer the Peep or the notch. Let's go ahead and put in the Peep sight. I've got a notch sight on another sub. We'll compare the two side by side here in a second. So go ahead and remove the actual grip pin screw, and you'll see I've got the thicker nylon washer here, right? Okay, just keep that in mind. When you receive your assembly, it'll come pre-assembled, so it's pretty intuitive and easy to follow along, you know, as you take it apart, how you're going to put it into your sub. So then you've got a 2mm Allen key that comes with the kit, right? You're going to go ahead and you're going to loosen that set screw on the sight upright. It'll slide right off, and then you'll have the lever, which is fantastic. This is ambidextrous, by the way, so that's why there's two flats here on the actual grip pin, because it's ambidextrous. So lefties, we're thinking about you, all right? We've had a lot of requests for lefty stuff, so there you go, guys. You've got some lefty stuff right here. Right-handed shooters, you're likely gonna have the lever on the left side, like I'm gonna do here in a second. Just makes it easier. That way you've got your right hand on the pistol grip of your firearm at all times. You can use your left hand to actuate the lever. Lefties, you'll probably put it on the right side, which is easy to do. Right? We've got those flats in there, and then the set screw tightens right up on the flat. Now, not until we get it inserted into the actual firearm first. Look at these levers, by the way. We really put some time and energy into designing these. We wanted something that wasn't going to be too bulky, but wide enough so that you could actually actuate the lever quickly and effectively. You're not flipping around looking for it. It's easy to find. It's a really nice touch point to have this sort of textured grip. You don't even have to look at it. You just feel it on the side. You're flipping it back and forth. Really fantastic. These are pressed on, and there's actually little tiny splines on these grip pins that hold it in place. So we've actually done some destructive testing on these, put it in a vise, put some pliers on it, spun it all the way around, and it still will reset itself. The whole idea is these are actually steel grip pins. This is aluminum, right? So the steel and aluminum really mesh together, and the splines dig into the aluminum and really gets a nice tight grip. I mean, it is fantastic. You can't break these. These are really impressive, really excellent levers. We put a lot of time into that, and obviously black oxide coated, and these are hard coat anodized, the aluminum parts. So we've got aluminum and steel, just really fantastic upgrades all the way around. So let's go ahead and we'll put this in real simple and easy. So you're just gonna turn your sub upright. Next, we're gonna insert a lever and grip pin. Make sure you got the thin washer on there. Figure out which side you want the lever to be on. I'm a right-handed shooter, so it's on the left side for me. Then go ahead and place your upright inside that notch. Remember, the set screw is facing towards the tip of the barrel. Have the upright at 12 o'clock and line up the lever at 12 o'clock. Nice and even, good. Now we're gonna go ahead and loosen that set screw all the way out because we need to put a little bit of blue Loctite on there. Let's go ahead and put a dab of that on there. The blue 242 Loctite. Then go ahead and drop the set screw back in. Make sure that lever and upright are even. All right, get it good and snug. All right, now go ahead and take the thicker nylon washer and grip pin screw. Then go ahead and put a little bit of blue 242 Loctite on there. This is really gonna help make sure you got adequate tension on that sight. During operation, that screw has a tendency to back off, so it's really important to make sure we've got a good amount of tension on this screw, and we want it to hold in place. So that Loctite's gonna do wonders. So go ahead and snug it up. Gonna have to hold that lever. All right, it's good and snug. And then go ahead and make sure it's the right tension. If you move it back and forth, it's gonna loosen that screw. So once you've got the appropriate tension on there, you can tweak it up a little bit. There we go, don't move it too much. It'll take 20 minutes for it to set and then 24 hours for it to cure. So let's go ahead and make sure we give it 20 minutes before we move it again. All right, so our 20 minutes has gone by. The blue Loctite has taken a nice set. Feels absolutely fantastic. Really amazing upgrade. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the couple different options. So we've got the rear Peep sight here, obviously, and then we've got the actual rear notch sight here. Here's a quick side-by-side look of the Peep and notch options. And it's really shooter choice. Both are fantastic upgrades over the factory plastic molded sight. Really can't complain. I mean, it's a fantastic difference, night and day. So you got your notch sight here on the left. Man, just really amazing upgrades all around. I mean, it's hard, it almost doesn't even do it justice, this video and the pictures and everything else. You really got to get your hands on one and experience it and actually get out there and shoot it to see that major night and day difference. And just to see the results on paper, you're going to really be impressed with the inherent accuracy and the new functionality you've got with your Sub 2000. It's pretty amazing. So fantastic precision machined rear sights that are taller for your KEL TEC Sub 2000. Can't go wrong there. These are designed for the Gen 2, no problem. They fit in the notches just fine. And this actually took a little finesse here with this notch sight, being that it is squared at the top, more or less. And when you look closely at it, there are some little rounded edges there, which we had to really dial in to get it to fit just fine into these little cutouts on the forend. So something to appreciate, something to look at. There's a lot that went into this, and we're really happy to finally have these for you guys. So excited to see your feedback. Let's go ahead and demo how to put this into a Gen 1. So I've got our Gen 1 shell here, kind of a mock-up just so we can demonstrate the actual sight installation. And so there's a little tiny hole here on the left side, and then there's the wider hole which we're used to on the right side. So changed this up over the years, I guess. For whatever reason, they had this little tiny hole just big enough for the actual screw to go into the grip pin. To fix this, we're gonna need to actually drill that out. If you were a left-handed shooter, you know, having your lever on the right side wouldn't be a problem, but if you're a right-handed shooter, that's gonna be a problem. So it's not gonna fit. So we're gonna have to make some adjustments. Not a big deal. Fortunately, it's polymer, so we can cut it real easily. Now we need to go ahead and in this hole, and then we're gonna have to make some adjustments up here. So I'll show you how to do that now. Take your drill with a 1/4 inch bit and go through the wide hole. It'll slide right in, no problem, right? We're just doing this real gingerly, okay? We're just gonna kind of bump the drill a little bit. Boom. That easy. Look at that. So now we've made the necessary adjustment. Wasn't that hard, wasn't that much. You just saw we just bumped the drill a little bit just to get it cut right through. No problem. So now we're good. So now we can go ahead and install the notch sight. So we got the notch sight. This is how you'll get it when you open up the package. So we'll just unscrew this grip pin screw and this thicker washer here. All right. Now we'll take our 2mm Allen key and we'll unscrew that set screw on the upright. Okay. leave our thin little washer on there. So now we'll go ahead and get our lever started on the left-hand side. Might be a little snug because it's a fresh, clean hole. All right, now we'll go ahead and get our rear sight situated. So we've got the set screw facing forward towards the tip of the barrel. Slide that in and get our grip pin to slide right into the sight. All right, both at the 12 o'clock and lined up right where we want them. Now we'll tighten up that set screw. Make sure they stay in position as you're tightening. All right, good to go. Nice. Now we'll go ahead and we'll insert the grip pin screw and the thicker nylon washer on the opposite side. And typically we would take our blue 242 Loctite and put that on there just to make sure it was nice and snug. Make sure you get the threads lined up. There we go. So now you'll see on the Gen 1 a little bit of interference right there with the notch sight. So we're gonna have to widen that hole up. And you can see it's not a real perfect hole anyway. Not a big deal, not a lot of cutting here, just some minor tweaking. So then we'll take a Sharpie and we'll actually just put a little dot on the outside edges where we need to make a little bit of clearance. Then we'll go ahead and grab a razor blade and cut a couple little notches right there. Nothing major, just adding a little bit of clearance. And if we need to, we've also got a little tiny file, which will work great too. But it's really just some minor little tweaking. And the razor blade will do a perfect job. And this is only for the Gen 1 owners. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start on the other side too, making some minor adjustments incrementally. And it just really, you're just shaving it really. You can see how it's peeling off there. Nothing crazy. Almost there actually. Just barely. And if you've got one of these little files, you know, this is great too. This will help you clean it up. You can get these little files at Harbor Freight for $2. There we go. Do a little bit more. Perfect. Compatible with the Gen 1 and the Gen 2. Gen 1, just a minor little tweak you got to make to the actual polymer. You saw what we did there with the 1/4 inch bit, widening the hole, and then what we did with the razor blade and the file just to clean up this little hole up here. Let's move on. Well, there you have it, guys. A fantastic taller rear sight replacement for your KEL TEC Sub 2000, available in both Peep and notch style apertures, giving you a much more natural cheek to stock weld. We're really looking forward to your feedback on these and really excited to see which one you guys think is your favorite, the Peep or the notch style version. Thank you, MCARBO Brotherhood, for your ideas and your support, and as always, happy shooting.